Hey there, I'm the Communication Doc, and this is the fourth video in my series, How to Correct Common Communication Challenges. If you haven't watched the previous videos, please do so as each video builds in content from the previous ones. In this video, I'm going to continue my discussion of the first communication challenge, which is misunderstandings. And in the previous videos talking about misunderstandings, I've discussed how our perception of ourselves and our perception of others plays into misunderstandings that occur. With regard to perception of others, the last video I discussed how we form impressions and how that affects misunderstanding. And in this one, I want to talk about our interpretation of others' behavior. And that refers to causal attributions. So basically, whenever we or others engage in a behavior, whether it be something we say or something we do, we're going to look at that behavior and attribute it to one of two categories of causes. One of those is going to be internal causes, and the other one is external causes. And a really easy way to think about this is an internal cause is something within my control. So let's say a personality or a character trait. An external cause is going to be something outside of my control. So the behavior of another person or circumstances that I can't control. And there are a couple documented biases that happen when it comes to how we attribute or interpret other people's behavior. The first one is called the self-serving bias, and this one has to do with my own behavior. And the self-serving bias says that basically, if I have a positive behavior, I'm going to attribute that to an internal cause, something within my control. But if I have a negative behavior, I'm going to attribute that to an external cause. So to give you an example, let's say I get a promotion at work. Well, if I get a promotion at work, it's going to be because I've worked hard, I'm disciplined, I'm a good worker. However, let's say I get reprimanded at work, I'm likely to blame that on external causes beyond my control. The boss just doesn't like me. Let's say I didn't get enough sleep or I'm overly stressed. Now, the exact opposite happens when it comes to our attribution of other people's behavior, and that's called the fundamental attribution error. And that error says that when we attribute other people's positive behaviors, we're going to assign them to an external cause that is outside of their control. But if they have a negative behavior, we're going to assign that to an internal cause, something that they can control. So back to our example, let's say a coworker gets a promotion, especially if it's one you think you deserved, you're likely to interpret that promotion or that behavior, that positive event, as being outside of their control. So the boss happens to like that person more than you, or let's say they're just lucky. However, if something negative happens, if they get reprimanded at work, you're likely to say, well, that's because they're not a good worker, or they aren't a hard worker, or they are late to work, for example. Something that we think that person has control over. So knowing that these biases happen and they're basically habitual ways we have of perceiving our own and others' behavior, we have to try to work against that and make sure we collect all of the information so that we can have accurate interpretations of our own and others' behavior. And you can see how this would impact your communication with other people. So back to our example of a coworker getting a promotion, if it's something that's beyond their control as to the reason why they got the behavior, we're likely to maybe not acknowledge it at all, or even to talk to other coworkers about how the person doesn't deserve it, and that's never a good idea. But if we think that it's attributed to an internal cause, then we're likely to congratulate the person on a well-deserved promotion. In my next video, I'm going to talk about some other barriers to accurate perception and what specifically we can do to help overcome those. So until next time, let's get communication healthy.